Carbs will make your weight go up. That is sign you cannot disagree with this. Carbs will make your weight go up. Now, you have people up there, your keto, stroke, and genuinely, I think herpes has a more positive impact on society right now compared to the carnivore people. So if the keto lovers and the carnivore people who rely on this thing here, this statement to be true, and that carbs will cause weight gain in a bid to sell you their little product. Now the issue with this is, whilst they're factually correct, one thing that they're neglecting, one thing that they're dramatically neglecting, well actually two things. This here is you. This is you. You're happy right now because you're eating a chocolate bar. Because we all like chocolate. So you eat a chocolate bar, it's going to go into your gob, go down into your digestive system. Now your body will break the chocolate up, the sugar, the carbs in the chocolate, into something called glycogen. So 1 gram of glycogen will hold on to 3 grams of water. Now this can be stored in your muscles for energy. This can stay in your body for about 3 to 4 days on average. So naturally, your weight per gram is going to go up by about 4 grams there. This is very different compared to gaining fat. This is gaining energy and water, not fat. So what a lot of these keto lovers, carnivore lovers neglect to tell you, that despite you eating carbs and your weight going up by water, you're not actually getting any fatter. Your body fat is not going up. It's just the weight within your body. And this is why I don't think weight is a good metric to measure your success. It's literally the amount of weight that you put on this planet whenever you step. That's all weight is good for, in my very humble opinion. So why do people say they get these big transformations when they go carnivore? Because they're going to eat a shed load of protein. Now, protein is absolutely glorious. It makes you feel fuller for longer. It helps build up muscle. And it basically gets converted into amino acids, goes around your body, and gets used everywhere in your body. That is one of the best things about carnivore. It makes it hard to overeat because your protein is so high because you're eating whole foods. Now, that is not necessarily carnivore. That is just hitting a very high protein diet. Calorie deficit. So long you're in a calorie deficit, you're hitting your protein. It does not matter where you're realistically getting your energy from. I personally go high carb in my diet. The reason why I go high carb, especially right now, I've got a few performance related goals. I'm running a lot. I'm lifting weights. I've got the CrossFit Open. I've got the High Rocks coming up. So I need to be fueling my body properly. So carbs is your body's primary source of energy. Yes, your weight will go up by about 4 grams when you eat carbs. But remember here, this what it goes up by is not body fat. It's energy. So we need to stop fearing carbs because of weight gain and appreciate, yes, it does increase your weight, but it's not making you fatter. And this is something why carnivore and again keto lovers, they do so well initially, because over the first 2 to 3 weeks, they can drop about a stone by just dropping out glycogen. And I promise you, by cutting out carbs, you will lose pretty much the will to live, because carbs are God. Carbs are phenomenal. I love carbs. And that's one of the best things about doing a lot of running. I could have a lot of simple carbs, sugars, because it helps fuel my run. It makes me run faster. It makes me run for longer. It makes my body more efficient because I'm fueling my body properly. So when it comes down to all of this, stop fearing the carbs. And in all honesty, depending what times you train, but try to have carbs about 60 minutes before your training session. This could literally be about 80 grams of carbs. 60 minutes before your session, you notice you're probably going to have a better session. So it could be things like honey, a really good pre-workout, bit of honey, tablespoon of honey, Himalayan pink salt, doesn't taste too nice. Get it down, wash it down with water. That's a phenomenal pre-workout. But guys, please stop fearing carbs. Carbs are not the enemy. Now, One of the diets I do highly recommend, and this is, again, I'm going to sort of hype up carnivore and keto a little bit. One reason why people have a lot of success when they cut out carbs, I personally, when I try to drop weight, I do something called carb cycling. So what this is I go 2 days, Tuesday, Thursday. And the reason why personally I pick Tuesday, Thursday, I train less. That's the amount of thought that goes into it. There's nothing special about Tuesday, Thursday. Pick 2 days that works for you. Try not to pick 2 days in a row though. So I train less on those 2 days, so I cut my carbs. And when I say carbs, I tend to say focus on your carb sources, not necessarily anything that contains carbs. So what I mean by a carb source is your bread, your pasta, your rice, that sort of stuff. Don't worry about fruit and vegetables. Even though it contains carbs, they're actually still really, really good. And hitting a good amount of vegetables, especially when you're trying to carb cycle, is really important because vegetables, they contain fiber, and fiber is going to help make you feel fuller for longer, which is going to help you adhere to the carb cycling days when our calories go low. So all carb cycling is basically on those 2 days a week, I cut my carbs to zero. Now, the reason why this works for me, and the reason why this works for a lot of people, if I tell you, cut out all your carb sources, because I've counted my calories for a long time, I know I eat, because I've counted my calories for a while, I know I have about 1,500 to 2,000 calories a day through carbs. So by cutting that out just 2 days a week, that gives me a deficit between 3,000 to 4,000 calories. That's just an easy way to create a calorie deficit. It's not carb cycling, cutting out carbs is magic. I just find this methodology really easy to follow because it's going to help me create a calorie deficit for those 2 days a week. It's slightly different for everyone, but carbs are not the enemy. If you like carbs, have carbs. Try to eat carbs about an hour before you train. You're going to notice your training is going to go up. And in theory, right, it's going to make a calorie deficit even bigger by eating carbs because you eat carbs before you train, you have a better session. You have a better session, you're burning more calories, you're building more muscles. Long term, you're going to create a bigger calorie deficit through your eat and your BMR. As always, any questions, feel free to drop me a message and have a phenomenal day. Goodbye. 2 days a week, I cut my carbs to zero. Now, the reason why this works for me, and the reason why this works for a lot of people, if I tell you, cut out all your carb sources, because I've counted my calories for a long time, I know I eat, because I've counted my calories for a while, I know I have about 1,500 to 2,000 calories a day through carbs. So by cutting that out just 2 days a week, that gives me a deficit between 3,000 to 4,000 calories. That's just an easy way to create a calorie deficit. It's not carb cycling, cutting out carbs is magic. I just find this methodology really easy to follow because it's going to help me create a calorie deficit for those 2 days a week.